You did the no contact. You stayed silent. You focused on yourself. And now, nothing. He hasn't reached out. He hasn't chased you. And you're thinking, was it all for nothing? Stop right there, because this right now is the most powerful moment you have, and 99% of women miss it completely. Welcome back to the channel where we don't play games, we shift the game in your favor. Today, I'm going to reveal the move he absolutely won't expect after no contact, and trust me, it's not another send this text or post a cute selfie strategy. No, this is deeper, smarter, and it works because it speaks to his psychology, not his ego. So if you've done no contact, if you've sat with the silence, and now you're asking yourself, what do I do next? This video is going to flip everything on its head. Here's the truth. No contact isn't the end. It's just the setup. What you do after it, that's what determines whether he forgets you or never stops thinking about you. And what I'm going to share today is not in the mainstream advice. It's not what your friends will tell you. And it's definitely not what he is expecting. By the end of this video, you'll have a move in your back pocket that reclaims your power without chasing, draws him in without a word, and makes him look at you and think, how did I ever let her go? Let's begin. So here's what tends to happen after no contact. And it's where most women unknowingly sabotage all the progress they made during the silence. They wait some more. And then they crack. They tell themselves, maybe he forgot I exist. What if he thinks I've moved on and he gives up? Or the worst one, maybe he needs a little nudge from me. And so they send a text, something casual, like, hey, just thinking of you. Or they reply to one of his stories with a laughing emoji. Or they try to post something cute, hoping he'll see it and remember what he's missing. And in that moment, boom, the energy shifts, but not in the way they hoped. See, here's what most women don't realize. When you break no contact with the wrong energy, you hand your power right back to him instantly. Because even though it feels innocent, a little message here, a tiny check in there, what it actually does is signal, I've been waiting. I was hoping you'd reach out. I missed you more than you missed me. And the moment he senses that, the mystery is gone. The curiosity disappears. The pressure he might have felt to step up, it vanishes. Instead of wondering what you're up to, instead of feeling the sting of your absence, he gets confirmation that he's still on your mind. He doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to reach out, reflect, or even grow, because in his mind, the door is already open. And that's the trap. Most women come out of no contact too soon, too emotional or too reactive. They operate from fear of losing him, fear of silence, fear of missing a window. But what they don't understand is silence isn't just distance, it's leverage. And when you end it too soon, when you reach out too soft too soon, or too obvious, you lose that leverage instantly. What he's expecting is predictability. He's expecting you to fold eventually. He thinks you'll come back. They always do. And when you do, even with a light-hearted message, you confirm his assumption. You don't surprise him. You don't shift the dynamic. You reinforce it. So what do most women do after no contact? They reach out, hoping for a response, hoping for validation, hoping for reconnection. But hope is not a strategy. And here's the twist. The woman who waits strategically, the one who doesn't chase, the one who stays still just a little longer and then makes the move he didn't see coming. That's the woman he rethinks. That's the one who gets under his skin. So don't do what most women do. Don't follow the predictable path, because what comes next in this video, that's the shift that flips everything in your favor. It's one of the most confusing parts of post-breakup behavior. He acts cold, distant, even indifferent, but somehow your intuition tells you he's still thinking about you. And guess what? You're not wrong. The truth is, men process emotional separation very differently from women. While you may have felt every emotion immediately after no contact started, hurt, sadness, growth, reflection, he often goes numb at first. He pushes things aside. He leans on distractions. He tells himself he's fine, but silence has a funny way of creeping up on people, especially when it's not what they expected. At first, he might have assumed you'd reach out. Maybe he thought the breakup was on his terms. Maybe he expected you to fold. And when you didn't, That silence started to echo in a way he didn't prepare for. See, even if he's acting cold on the outside, unbothered, emotionally shut off, or living his best life on social media, it doesn't mean you're not in his mind. In fact, that front he's putting up, that's a sign. Cold behavior is often a defense mechanism, especially if he still feels something for you but doesn't know how to handle it. Acting unbothered is easier than admitting he misses you. Detachment is safer than vulnerability. And if he's emotionally avoidant, pushing you away might be his only way of staying in control. But here's where it gets interesting. When a woman goes no contact and stays silent, it removes his emotional safety net. You're not there to stroke his ego, not validating him, not reacting to him. And that's when the questions start to creep in for him. Why hasn't she reached out? Did she move on? Was I really that easy to forget? Did I misjudge her feelings? Those questions begin to churn in his subconscious, especially late at night or during quiet moments when no one's around to distract him. Even if he doesn't act on those thoughts, they exist, they linger. He may check your stories anonymously, scroll through old messages, revisit photos, and no, he won't always show it. But don't confuse silence with indifference. Sometimes silence means he's too affected to act like he's not. What you need to remember is this. His cold behavior doesn't erase the bonds you shared. Emotional connections don't evaporate overnight. And just because he's not saying he misses you doesn't mean he doesn't feel the absence. Men often struggle with regret in delayed ways. It doesn't hit right away. It builds over time, especially when he sees that you're not chasing, not begging, not folding. So if he seems cold right now, let him be cold. Let him sit in that silence, because behind that icy front is a storm he won't talk about, but he will feel it. And that's the beginning of him realizing you weren't so easy to forget after all. Let's talk about what really drives him crazy, the move he won't expect, and more importantly, why it works. Because here's the truth. Men don't just respond to words or actions. They respond to how those actions make them feel, especially when it touches something deep in their psychology, uncertainty, curiosity, and loss. When a woman goes silent after no contact, and then suddenly reappears, not with neediness or emotion, but with controlled energy, clarity, and detachment, it short-circuits his expectations. He's prepared for the typical pattern. You miss him, you fold, you come back. But when that doesn't happen, his mind scrambles for a new script. And that's when you have the upper hand. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. The male brain is wired for challenge and novelty. Once a situation feels safe, predictable, or emotionally locked down, his engagement decreases. But when something becomes uncertain, his attention spikes. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect, the tendency for people to remember and obsess over unfinished emotional business. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. The male brain is wired for suck, and you become unfinished business. Especially when you re-enter with energy that says, I'm not here to get you back. I'm not even sure I want you back. I just remembered who I am. This is where the move happens, not in what you say, but in the energy you bring. You don't chase. You don't ask where you stand. You don't rehash the past. Instead, you speak with calm detachment. You drop a subtle message or make an unexpected appearance, not to get a reaction, but to create mystery. He starts to wonder, why does she seem so calm? Why isn't she emotional? Did she meet someone? Did I lose her for real? You've gone from being someone he assumed was emotionally available to someone he can't figure out. And that gap in understanding, that's what makes him obsess. Men aren't used to emotional unpredictability from women after no contact. Most of the time, when a woman comes back, it's filled with emotional weight. But when you return with emotional control, he doesn't know where you stand. That tension makes him want answers. It reignites pursuit, because mystery breeds magnetism. It taps into his competitive nature. It activates the part of him that wants to win, to conquer, to prove he still has your attention. And when he's unsure of that, he starts investing energy to find out. That's the psychology behind the move. You become the one thing he can't quite label. Not the needy ex, not the emotional wreck, but the mystery he didn't expect to miss this much. And that's powerful. Because at the end of the day, people don't chase what's handed to them. They chase what challenges them, what haunts them, what they can't stop thinking about. That's the move. And he'll never see it coming. So what's the move he won't expect? It's not a grand gesture. It's not a flirty text. And it's definitely not you showing up to say, I've changed, take me back. The move is subtle, almost quiet, but it hits deep. It's this: you re-enter his world with calm, confident detachment and zero emotional agenda. Let me explain exactly what that looks like. After weeks, maybe months of silence, he expects two things from you. One, that you'll stay away forever, or two, that if you come back, it'll be emotional. A confession, a plea, an attempt to talk things out. But when you reappear in a completely different emotional frequency, collected, elevated, unaffected, it disorients him. Let's say you send a light, casual message. Something as simple as, hey, just saw something that reminded me of you. Hope you're well. That's it. No over-explaining, no asking questions, no reopening wounds. You drop it like a feather and walk away. Or maybe you bump into him somewhere. Instead of awkward tension or nervous energy, you're cool, relaxed, warm but not inviting, present but not performing. You're not looking for validation. You are validation. What's happening in that moment is psychological whiplash. He remembers you in a certain way, maybe reactive, maybe emotional, maybe heartbroken. But the woman standing in front of him now, she's centered, she's glowing, she seems good, maybe better than when you were together. That alone is the move. Because what you've done is shatter his internal narrative. He expected to see someone who missed him. Instead, he sees someone who might not need him at all. And here's the kicker. That's what makes him need you again. You've stepped out of the emotional chase. You're no longer seeking his response. You're simply living in your power and letting him witness it. This move works because it triggers his curiosity first, then his ego, then his heart. He starts asking himself, did she really move on? Has she outgrown me? Why does this feel so unfamiliar? Why do I suddenly miss what I thought I didn't want? He might not act immediately, but you've planted the seed. And that seed will grow every time he checks your social media, every time he sees you flourishing, every time he realizes you're not trying to get him back. You're simply being someone he wants back. And if you're thinking, but won't he think I don't care? No, not if you do it right. Because this isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about communicating that your peace is no longer tied to his presence. You're not ice cold. You're just emotionally free. That is the move. It's unexpected because most people don't lead with emotional discipline. They lead with feelings, fear and longing. But when you lead with inner certainty, it's unforgettable. It's rare. And to a man who thought he had you all figured out, it's deeply unsettling in the best way. So don't underestimate the power of subtle, controlled re-entry. One message, one encounter, one moment where your calm energy makes him feel everything he's been avoiding. That's how you flip the script. That's how you reclaim the power dynamic without saying a word. And that's the move he never saw coming, but won't be able to forget. Let's be honest, when you're making the move, it's easy to overthink it. You want to be intentional, but not obvious. Confident, but not cold. Present, but not desperate. So how do you make it feel natural, not forced, not calculated, not like you're trying to make him feel something? Here's the key: authenticity, emotional control. You're not pretending to be unbothered. You're actually calm because you've done the work. You're not faking confidence. You're rooted in it. That's what separates a forced interaction from a magnetic one. Real energy can't be faked, and he'll sense the difference instantly. The biggest mistake women make at this stage is overcompensating. They try too hard to seem chill. They send a message and then panic when it's not answered right away. Or they craft a perfectly worded text that's so polished it feels rehearsed. That's the fast track to feeling fake. So here's what to remember. You're not trying to impress him. You're just expressing a moment. Let's say you want to send a message after weeks of no contact. The goal isn't to restart the relationship or reopen the past. It's simply to create a small moment of connection, low pressure, high authenticity. Examples: just past that taco truck we always talked about. Hope you're still getting your salsa extra spicy. Or remember that podcast you recommended? Finally gave it a listen. You were right. It's fire. Short, light, casual, but layered with meaning. Why? Because it shows you've thought of him without chasing him. It shows confidence and presence. It feels effortless because it is. Now let's talk about energy. Before you send any message, check in with yourself. Are you sending this because you miss him or because you're centered? Are you hoping for a response to validate you? Or are you grounded enough that even if he doesn't reply, your peace stays intact? That's the real test. When your message comes from a place of overflow, not lack, it feels natural, effortless, aligned. And if you bump into him or see him in person, same rules apply. Don't script what to say. Don't run through fake cool girl lines. Just stay grounded in your energy. Smile if it feels right. Be kind. Be brief. Keep your tone light, but your posture strong. What he's reading isn't your words. It's your vibe, your calmness, your confidence, your detachment from needing anything. That's what makes him lean in, because it's rare, it's real, and it doesn't feel like a performance. One of the most powerful things you can say in that moment, nothing, just be. Let him feel the weight of your presence. Let him realize, without you saying it, that you've evolved, that you're no longer looking for closure, because you've already given that to yourself. Remember, natural doesn't mean passive. It means aligned. It means your actions match your inner state. No chasing, no proving. Just being with elegance, self-respect, and quiet power. That's how the move becomes unforgettable. Not because it's loud, but because it's so quietly powerful. He'll replay it over and over, wondering if it was a moment or the beginning of something he might never get back. Let me share a real-life story of a woman named Talia. Her situation? Almost textbook. Talia had been with her ex for over a year. Things started out passionate, exciting, and intense, but eventually the relationship became imbalanced. She gave more. She tried harder. And somewhere along the way, she lost her sense of self, trying to keep him emotionally engaged. Eventually, the relationship ended. Not in some dramatic fight, but in quiet disconnection. He said he needed space, and she respected it. But the truth, it broke her. For the first few weeks, she spiraled. She wanted to reach out. She retyped messages every night and deleted them every morning. But instead of caving, she did something different, something powerful. She went into true no contact, not as a game, not to manipulate, but to heal. She removed him from her feed, blocked his number temporarily, and gave herself full permission to grieve. But here's the key. She didn't just sit in silence, she transformed in silence. She picked up weight training again, started journaling daily, got back into art, which she hadn't touched in years. Most importantly, she did the inner work, therapy, breath work, mindset coaching, and slowly she came back to herself. Not the girlfriend version of her, but the whole version. Then, after 6 weeks of no contact, she unblocked him. Not to reach out, just to allow space for something new. And within a few days, he viewed her story. Then another, and then the message came. Hey, random, but I heard this song that reminded me of you. Hope you're okay. She didn't respond immediately. She didn't get overly excited. She stayed calm. After 24 hours, she replied with warmth, but no emotional invitation. Something like, that's a great song. Glad it brought back a good memory. I'm doing really well. Hope you are too. That was it. No pressure, no emotion. Just energy that said I'm good either way. And it hit him hard. The calm confidence, the lack of neediness, the absence of emotional bait. It threw him off, but in the best way. That brief interaction sparked a series of conversations. Over the next few weeks, they began texting more, catching up. He asked to meet for coffee. She agreed, but kept the tone light. She didn't bring up the past. She didn't try to prove anything. She didn't need closure anymore, because she'd already closed the door herself. And when they met, he couldn't stop staring. He told her, you feel different. I don't know what it is, but it's attractive. It's like you're untouchable now. And that was the turning point. Because here's what happened next. He started pursuing her again. This time, not from guilt or comfort, but from true renewed attraction. He saw her in a different light. Not as the woman who once waited around, but the woman who evolved while he stayed stagnant. They didn't jump back into a relationship immediately. She made him show consistent effort over time. And eventually, yes, they did get back together, but on a completely different foundation. One built on respect, emotional maturity, and balance. This isn't a fantasy, it's a real story, and it's possible. But here's the lesson. The move that flipped everything wasn't a text. It wasn't a game. It was her becoming someone new and letting him see it without forcing it. That's the power of the unexpected move. That's what changes the story. Let's talk about the moment no one wants to face, but so many experience. You've made the move, sent a message, maybe even bumped into him, and carried yourself with calm confidence. And then nothing. No response, no reaction, just silence. It stings. There's no sugarcoating it, but here's the truth you need to hold on to. His silence does not define your value, and it certainly doesn't undo your growth. First, let's decode what his lack of response really means. When a man doesn't respond, it's not always because he doesn't care. Sometimes it's because he doesn't know how to respond. Your energy has shifted, and if he's emotionally immature or avoidant, he might feel threatened or confused by your calm confidence. He may have expected you to come back with neediness or regret. Instead, you arrived with peace, power, and detachment, and that doesn't fit the narrative he built in his head. So instead of engaging, he freezes. Other times, he may truly be emotionally checked out. And while that can be hard to hear, it's also freeing. Because now you're not chasing potential. You're not stuck in the cycle of what if. You have clarity, and clarity is a gift, even if it hurts at first. Now here's what not to do if he doesn't respond. But pause, breathe, remind yourself, the version of you who sent that message or showed up with grace was not doing it to manipulate. You were honoring your growth. You made your move from a place of alignment, not desperation. And if he can't meet you in that space, that's not your failure, that's his limitation. So what should you do now? You hold the line. You go back to your center. You reground in your self-worth. You lean into the life you've built outside of him. Whether he responds or not, your path forward is the same. You keep evolving. Because here's the plot twist. Silence is not the end. Sometimes it's just a delay. Many women who don't get an initial response hear from their ex weeks or even months later. Why? Because the seed you planted didn't die. It just took longer to grow. And by the time it blooms, you may not even want what you once did. That's power. But whether he ever responds or not is actually not the point. The real win? You showed up in your truth. You made the move from your healed energy, not your hurt. You became the kind of woman who doesn't beg for attention, but who knows her worth, even in silence. And that energy, that's what changes everything. So if he doesn't respond, let him sit with that. Let him feel the absence. Let him wonder. And you keep showing up for your life. Post that story. Go on that trip. Dive into that project. Not to make him regret it, but because you deserve a full life, with or without his reply. Sometimes the move that changes everything isn't the one that gets a reaction. It's the one where you stop waiting for one. That's when the shift happens. That's when you rise. Let's talk about the text, the one that pulls him back in, the one he doesn't see coming, and the one that makes him stop whatever he's doing just to read it again. Now, first things first, this text isn't magic. It's not some manipulative trick or copy and paste formula. What makes it powerful is how aligned it is with your energy when you send it. The wrong energy ruins even the best message. But the right message, sent from a woman who is emotionally grounded, self-assured, and genuinely detached from the outcome, that's what makes it unforgettable. So what kind of message pulls him back in? It's not emotional. It's not needy. It's not I miss you. It's this, hey, I came across something that made me smile. Totally forgot how funny you were. Let that sit. Why does it work? Because it triggers nostalgia without begging for connection. It reminds him of a positive emotional association with you. Something light, personal, and safe. You're not pushing for a conversation. You're not opening up old wounds. You're simply dropping a thread that pulls at his curiosity, his ego, and his emotional memory. You're showing that you're emotionally mature enough to appreciate a moment from the past without trying to reopen it. That alone sets you apart. You could also try something like, you popped into my mind today, random memory, but it made me laugh. Hope you're well. This version is gentle, nostalgic, and warm. But here's the key. It ends with peace, not pressure. You're not asking him how he feels. You're not chasing closure. You're just placing yourself back into his emotional awareness without needing anything in return. And that's exactly what makes him want to give you something in return. The psychology here is simple. People remember how you made them feel. If your message brings a wave of warmth, calm, and familiarity, it disarms his defenses. It makes him curious. He might even question why you're being so chill, and that curiosity is where everything starts. But the real secret, don't overdo it. Send one message. Just one. No follow-up. No double texting. Let it breathe. Let him make the next move. If he replies, keep the tone light. Match his energy. Don't overextend. If he starts opening up, great. If not, you've still maintained your self-respect, your peace, and your feminine power. Because remember, the real power of this text isn't the message itself. It's that you were strong enough to walk away, wise enough to grow in silence, and now bold enough to reach back with zero expectation. That's not just attractive, that's rare, and that, more than anything, is what pulls him back in. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've covered today. The truth is, the move we've been talking about isn't just about him, it's about you. It's about reclaiming your power, your peace, and your emotional freedom. Not for him, but for yourself. You've learned that the move isn't about playing games or manipulating emotions. It's about stepping into your highest self, recognizing your worth, and letting him see you as someone who has evolved, grown, and is no longer attached to the outcome. Whether or not he responds, you've already won because you've shown up with the kind of strength that's magnetic. If he doesn't respond, that's okay. His silence doesn't diminish your progress. It only makes you more attractive because it reinforces the one thing that's rare and powerful in relationships: emotional independence. You're not waiting for a text. You're living your life, flourishing and letting him come to you if he's meant to. Your life has become a story he wants to be a part of, not one he's forcing himself into. And if he does respond, take things slowly. Stay grounded. Show up with the same grace, composure and power you've been building all this time. The game isn't to rush or force anything. It's to remain consistent in your growth. Make him prove he's worthy of your time and energy this time around. So what's next? The next step is simple. Keep evolving. Invest in yourself, whether that's through your career, your health, your relationships, or your own personal growth. Continue to become the best version of yourself, the version that doesn't need external validation. And when the time is right, your move will be even more powerful. The secret isn't to focus on what he's doing. It's about you continuing to live your life with authenticity, self-respect, and emotional balance. That's what will always bring the best outcomes, whether you're hoping to reconnect or move on completely. So take a deep breath, trust the process, and know that you are more than enough with or without him. That wraps up our deep dive into making the move he won't expect. Ready to empower yourself with this